Good evening. Thank you. Thank you to Bob and to Javier and to Karen and Bill and Dan and Mike and many people I can't thank for being so welcoming of me, so respectful of me. And thank you to all the people that I've met in the last 24 hours. My name is Zephyr Teachout. I'm never going to stay under my 10-minute limit if you guys keep chanting. So. I am a working families Democrat. This is a really big moment, and we all feel it. And as hard as it is, I think we should all celebrate it. Because this is a real convention where we're going to have a real discussion about real ideas. That's right. And I want to join with Bill in asking those of you who are, I know you're feeling frustrated, but to be really respectful of each other in the debate that's coming forward. You know, right now, in this country, and in this state, we're in the middle of a debate. It's about whether Democrats should represent Wall Street or Main Street. It's about whether Democrats should represent the 99% or the 1%. Yeah. Every person in this room is on the side of the 99%. Every person in this room is on the side of the workers, on the side of the parents, on the side of the teachers, the small business owners. You guys are the best New Yorkers I know. So I just finished a history book for Harvard on the meaning of corruption in American law. It turns out that for the founding era, corruption, the opposite of corruption was the love of the public. Corruption is the love of the few in public office, and the love of the public is the opposite of corruption. And I want to tell you, every one of you here can look into your hearts and know that you love the public. Yep. That's why you're here. You are all fighters in the cause of that love, and I love you for it.
We love you too.
So, you know, the only question tonight, it's a serious question, but really, remember that. The only question tonight is the best way to fight for that great New York public that we all love. So, let's step back a minute and introduce myself. I'm sure a lot of you, and perhaps the governor, are wondering, who the hell is Zephyr Teachout? I grew up in rural Vermont. I went to Yale and Duke, and now I teach at Fordham Law. But what I do, what I feel my job is, and you know, on this planet, is to fight corruption and the concentration of economic and political power that I think is choking our democracy and choking our economy.
Yep.
Citizens United, who cited the dissent. But, you know, once in a while I get the attention of some powerful men, and Justice Scalia had to mention me in the concurrence just to be clear that he didn't agree with me. I fight through campaigns. I was the director of online organizing for Howard Dean in 2004. I helped found a group that was dedicated to breaking up the banks. And in my writing, I fight with my pen. I've seen some of you fighting with your pens and laptops today on Twitter, and I appreciate it. But I fight ultimately, even though I say it's about fighting corruption, it's ultimately I'm fighting for something. I'm fighting for a vision of a democracy that lives up to some promise of true liberty, where people have real control over their own lives and the lives of your children and the life of your community. So the reason I entered this campaign asking for the nominations is I believe that we have to aim for so much more. I think New Yorkers and the American people have to learn to demand more.
Yep.
We're seeing the worst inequality in 100 years right now.
Yep.
And right now, still, with that inequality, we find ourselves sometimes fighting for scraps. So my goal is to really launch a different argument about what kind of America, what kind of New York we want to live in.
Yes.
Not what kind of New York we will settle to live in. I want to live in a country where the people rule. It's a simple request. So, when I say I want to demand more, I mean, I don't want to just stand for campaign finance reform. I want to stand with you and demand economic democracy. I don't want to just ask for good jobs and fair pay. I want to demand a citizens' economy where every worker has an opportunity to thrive.
Right on.
We have some messed up tax policy in this state right now. Policy. I want to stand with you and redistribute real power within our economy. That's why this campaign must be about the rise of a new political vision in America. A new idea, a new dream of America. All right, so let's talk about what just happened. The last 24 hours. It's been extraordinary. This is old-fashioned Democratic politics. And if you know me, you know I love democracy. So, I feel immensely proud, and you should all in this room feel immensely proud. You argue together, you cry together, you love each other, you ignore that guy you see in the hall who you disagree with on the deal, not the deal. But now we're standing together as a single party. And if there's one thing I know for certain in my years of organizing, is if you're going to take power, you have to concentrate power. And if you're going to concentrate power, you need good friends, good fighting friends to do that. And no matter what happens here tonight, I am going to stand with you, and I want you all to stand with each other, no matter what happens here tonight, to be good fighting friends together. So, yesterday, let's talk about this deal. You guys are going to be talking about the deal tonight. I respect that. Just so you know, I wasn't part of that deal, and I'm still not part of the deal. I love and respect the people who made that deal, and I ask you to do the same thing. I understand that it was a difficult decision, and I respect their decision. I trust their motives. I know they are fighting for what they truly believe. So I know that this decision may make many people unhappy, but I ask you to also respect and trust those people who made that decision, even as I ask you to vote with your heart with what you believe. This debate is not about some skinny kid with a funny name named Zephyr Teachout. It's not about me. It's about this party. It's a serious debate about the party. It's about our collective hopes and dreams as a fighting community. I believe with the people who helped make this happen that any agreement that raises minimum wages for working families in New York is worth really celebrating. So the only debate we're talking about is not about the dream we have, but about the way to get there. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my dream, and then I'll close up. I know I'm taking a little more time, but okay.
That's okay.
Shut up.
Exactly. Yeah, you're here in person. I like that.
I see New York, which I know we can have, with the best public schools in the nation. I went to great public schools, and my first job out of college was teaching as a special ed aide in a public school in rural Vermont. I want to see New Yorkers with the best and freest access to information in America. Now, it may sound a little technical, but there's an effort right now by this corporation, Comcast, to take over television and broadband and to use their power to charge us more and deliver less.
What a deal.
That has to end. I would fight to end it. The governor of New York can fight to end that in New York. I want to see a New York that's home to the luscious family farms in all of America and the richest family businesses. I want to see a New York that doesn't allow companies like Walmart and Tyson to monopolize Main Street and bankrupt our family farms. I don't know if it's right, but if I ever get up and stand before you again, I will tell you that I will never ask you to compromise your principles and values.
Thank you.
Please pledge with me that whatever the decision tonight, tomorrow we wake stronger. After an extraordinary show of power of working families in New York, a show of what we together can accomplish. Thank you for your warmth to me. Thank you for your love of New York. So I grew up in this small town and went to Congregational Church, and my dad is here tonight will kill me for this. It's the least favorite part of the tradition, but we had a tradition called passing the peace. So you take some time during the service to turn to somebody, maybe somebody you haven't met, maybe somebody you've been arguing over, land borders with, and you say, "Peace be with you," and they in return say, "and also with you." Say whatever you want. But what I ask you to do now, for me at least, but also for the future of this party, is to reach across the aisle and pass the peace. Find some, I'm serious. Tell them you love them.
Peace be with you, brother. You too. All right.
And tomorrow, we're going to wake up and that love and that peace you just shared. Tomorrow morning, I want you to wake up and forget whatever acrimony you may have had with each other or disagreeing about the best way to get to the New York that we all want. And remember that peace you just shared. And we are going to be fighting together, and I'm going to be there with you, not just this year, not just in 4 years, but for the next 10 years.
All right.